So Laurie has EEFJLRR. Do you play Gier here, Josh? I'm guessing you want to try to get rid of the J. Do you play Hefe?
Probably Jefe here. I would play it because, yes, once again, the RR combination is unideal. You never want to keep duplicates Scrabble if there's something better. But I believe that the 6 extra points that Jefe yields for Laurie is enough to counteract that. But it looks like she's going to be playing Gier, so hey.
Yeah, I probably would have gone the Gier route, but I think that they're both worth thinking about, and they're pretty close in value.
And Farrell as a suggestion. I did not see that.
I did not see that either.
Scores pretty well. Scores 26. Jefe is 28. That actually might be the right play. You don't normally want to keep a J, since it's only good for scoring and it's not very versatile. But I actually like the idea of Farrell. You'll be able to probably use the J for a decent score next turn, and you're not keeping 3 consonants. Yeah, and it looks like she's run into a little bit of constant trouble, but I think she'll be able to deal with that. Let's go over to Austin.
Yeah, so he's close to a lot of bingos, especially some 8s like armoires and rosaries, but he didn't get the right tiles. So I'm guessing, is going to do something. I'm surprised. He must be trying a call-in, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Here. A call-in is...
Please explain.
Yeah. So, as we said, the International Dictionary is also called the Collins Dictionary. That's the actual name of that dictionary. And so a lot of people like to say playing a call-in refers to words that are in a single word, I guess, that is in the Collins Dictionary, but not in the North American Dictionary. So this is the play I was expecting him to make of or, making J-O and E-R. A-E-I-R-S is just a really strong leave. This is also close to his highest scoring spot on the board, unless he played the S, but he doesn't want to do that. So it just seems like a pretty natural play here.
Yeah, I would personally like to see Rioja come down for the second time in 2 games, but that doesn't mean it's a better play.
Oh, you just like the word.
Yeah, I mean, I like when things happen twice in 2 games, I guess, or even better, twice in a row in the same game. But hey, let's talk about this game here.
And he already has Greasier set up in his rack, so that could be coming down if Laurie doesn't play off of the R or muck up the R in Gier. Meanwhile, though, he did give some juicy spots, especially for Laurie's tiles. Potentially, OR can front hook with an F or a K or an M, so she could be looking at that spot right now. J-O-E is also a word, so she might be trying to see if there are any words that can play through there. Mm-hmm. And so she is going to do that of Kerf, which I think that's a great idea, especially in this kind of board. Now, if you play Kerf, you're basically a lot of the time saying this is going to be a tight game. And having a tile like the X, which scores a bunch, is really valuable in tight board games. So I think Kerf is a great idea. Do you agree with that, Josh, or would you go with a different route?
I like the play of Kerf. I know that Laurie likes to play more open from time to time. So I mean, it'd be interesting if she makes this play, and she does. I am going back to the chat.
Great.
All right.
And so Laurie picked up Exclaim as her draw after Kerf. So we're going to see 2 bingos in a row here because she did leave a bingo lane off of the F in Kerf. I haven't had a chance to look if she has any other bingos or just really high scoring plays.
Exclaims and climaxes. Now that Greasier is on the board, but I think Exclaim scores more points, so it might be her choice here. I don't know where we left off. I was saying something about a question in the chat, but Hey, I'm not going to answer it now. No one's going to know what I was going to say.
That's code for Josh saying he wouldn't have found renminbi, I think. So,
wow, putting me on the spot like that.
No, I guess yeah, a bit. So, yeah, I guess is there any? I guess are those the only bingos? There's exclaims, climaxes, and exclaim off of the F and Kerf making FE. Climaxes to me looks to be the most defensive of those. So I'm not sure if that is something you want to consider here. But if she plays the bottom exclaim for the most points, that's going to make things really open.
Yeah,
and was looking
what we
so
like
close
to see. So let's hope for that. I mean, she's going to take a really nice lead. So hey, it's pick your poison here. Honestly, if you want to try and defend the board, that's now pretty well open after the play of Greasier. Be my guest, but it might just be easier on the brain to play exclaim and FE and just see how the tiles fall.
Yeah, and I see another bingo. Austin could have awninged through the G in Greasier if...
I love that word.
So awninged could come down. It is one of those weird ing words that can be used in adjective form after. So it looks like Laurie's playing exclaim now, and Austin didn't have awning set up on his rack, whereas he had Greasier set up in his rack on his previous game. So we'll see if he actually can see that, but that will be a huge turning point if he can find that word.
Oh, I think he's found it. I think he just isn't even thinking about arranging his tiles because he's just really hoping she doesn't play through the G, and he's just gonna look at that.
Yep.
I mean, these players are they're just phenomenal. I mean, come on.
Yeah, so awnings means that's the third bingo in a row, and they're just throwing punches back at each other. It's like a great boxing match. Austin takes the lead again for, that must have been around 90 points. And so it is 168 to 141. Laurie doesn't look like she has a bingo here, at least at first glance, but she definitely has some good scoring options.
Yeah, for those of you thinking about outwine, unfortunately, you cannot wine more than someone else in Scrabble. I was gonna say that one is goes for my opponents when I beat them.
Yeah, I do think there is at least one bingo here. It's a weird. I mean, it's a word you guys all know as an expression. So we'll give people in the chat like 30 seconds to maybe guess. I should actually look up if there's more than just one, but I see one bingo here. I'll look it up. Yes, there's exactly one bingo. So maybe try to look in the chat to see if you can see what tile can be paired with the letters Laurie has. It doesn't play, to be clear, but it's a really fun word.
Yeah. You were looking through. Like, oh my god, what am I missing? What am I missing?
No. Sorry.
But sometimes, I mean, that WU combo, everybody hates to see it, but sometimes you really have to just fight through that feeling of being like, I drew WU, and just find a really, really cool bingo that unfortunately doesn't play on this board, as Morris mentioned.
Yeah, so people are making very punny comments like it's a mystery. Thanks, Seth Lipkin, because the word is whodunit. So congrats to Eric Tran for seeing that and a few others.
I love that word. I think it's good. Yeah. It's good with two N's as well. There might be even more spellings.
Yeah, so she could play something like Outwish here. That would bring her back within 1 point. So that could be a good option. There have just been so many letters played already, and we haven't seen the blanks. We haven't seen 3 S's yet, and with exclaim taking a back S hook, those will be some really key tiles for the rest of this game. So I really like the idea of playing Outwish with so much good stuff in the bag. Score a lot now. Give yourself more opportunities to pick up some of those letters. Would you prefer Who, Outwish, or another play, Josh?
I like unwit and FET. I might go that route here, because keeping the H is nice for scoring. I mean, you do want to draw that S for exclaims, but if you can draw it with an H and put that H right below the S, you can score so many points. So I'm kind of liking that idea here, but outwish is probably the standard play here.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The H could definitely be a valuable tile on this board with the right letters. But I will say that like the S in Greasier is such a valuable like spot for bingos that's a big thing I would be thinking about by playing Outwish. But she plays How.
That's really fun. She's really going straight for a bingo with her unit leave. That could work and that could not work. I think in this situation it did not work out for her, but if she could, I think that play gives her the best chance of a bingo next turn. So this is a very interesting option. So she had played Who, which was suggested. That blocks a lot more stuff, right? That was with the EAS and Greasier. But she really wants to use those tiles for next turn if she's going to be keeping UNIT. NIT being bingo tiles. They don't score anything unless you get that 50-point bonus.
Yeah, it's a really aggressive move, and Austin actually finds a really nice play of Kidnap and Dow. That is such a cool find. I would have never, like, I forget that front hook all the time. The D in front of HOW just looks so unnatural to me. But man, I wonder what else he's even considering there. Kidnap is just such a cool looking play, but he might be thinking inlay off of the LAIM in exclaim is just so much safer. Just because the S hook is really.
Yeah, that's not IL isn't good. Sorry, that's two phonies, Morris.
Wait. So where's inlay? Inlay is on the other side of the board. Got it. So second phony of the day for me. I apologize. I should look at the coordinates that they suggest. I just yeah.
Yeah, no, but those are both really good options. I really like Kidnap because the board is just so open at this point, and now he's opening it even more. We're gonna have, if he plays Kidnap, we're really just gonna have a scoring fest. Dimply through the M and exclaim might be an option. Our producer might like that option as well. But that would be an option to reduce the fear of that huge S hook on exclaim. But this is a really is by far the most fun option, and it's a great find by Austin.
Yeah, and he saw it immediately too. Like he took a while to play it because he was considering other things, but we saw him put it down within seconds after Laurie played How. So it really just goes to show you how great board vision Austin has while he picks up that S that could be so key in this game.
Absolutely. Okay, so she's looking at Punity, which is
classic phony.
Yeah. Impunity. Why can't she have Punity if you have impunity?
Yeah, I've definitely put a P in front of Unity on the board, and it has gone unchallenged. It's gone challenged. I feel like that's one of those phonies that everyone's tried at least once.
Yeah, and honestly, I think depending on if your opponent realizes that it's a hook on the word unity that you see very often in the game of Scrabble, if they realize that, they're way more likely to challenge it. But if they're just like, oh, punity, and they don't think about that, that's when you can get away with these phonies. But not in this particular format of online play where all the words are checked before playing. It's called Void Challenge. You cannot play a phony word. It will not let you, which is good for for those that like to try things that may or may not be words.
Well, it looks like that worked out well for Laurie. She did block that triple, but unfortunately, looks like Austin, or fortunately, I guess I shouldn't always say unfortunately. Austin looks like he's putting down his S now and will make a play on the other triple for more points.
I mean, just look at how much this play is going to score. Maybe he doesn't see it, excuse me, yet, Yogism, but 64 points, it's not even a bingo. Like that's what I was saying about how incredibly valuable that S hook on exclaim is, and whoever is going to draw it is really going to have an advantage in this game. So we're going to see what he does here. He has the M, but does he see yogism? Is he looking at maybe smiley, which is invalid? Who knows? There's also he doesn't even have to go and hook exclaim for 50 points. He can just play mislay as he's putting down right there. That's so crazy. You could just score 51 points without even using that hook and just keep all the tension on the board and create even more, honestly, with that M. We'll see if he goes with that. It's just really a slugfest at this point.
So what would the logic be behind mislay over a play making fun. Exclaims? Having fun? Okay.
Having fun. That's all I can say about that idea. Or just missing yogism.
So you would play mislay over slimy using the same letters?
No, I wouldn't, because I don't like to have fun. But it's definitely a valid idea.
Well, it looks like he found yogism now, so I'd be surprised now that he sees it if he chooses something else. Yeah, he's playing that, and that gives him a bingo lead, essentially. And Laurie will probably try to get rid of some of the key tiles that are slowing her down a bit, like the V and the U this turn. But she will need the right tiles now to really come back.
Yeah, and this is a key instance of where you realize that the U is just by far the worst vowel to have. I mean, the only thing that saves the U is the Q. And Laurie might be regretting her decision of playing how and keeping that U, even though it was definitely a very good leave unit. It could have worked out really well for her, but when it doesn't work out and you draw a second U, it's just taking you two turns to get rid of it. And you're really starting to fall behind, as we can see here. But that's just the luck of the draw sometimes.
Yeah. So what options are we seeing here? So Quackle suggested Varia through the A in Greasier. Laurie, I think this makes a lot of sense, wants to play off her U as well, so she's going to play Virus. And she picks up the blank. Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do. When someone like Austin is your opponent who always just scores, you just gotta throw the gauntlet back at him as soon as possible. And he's trying. Is O flag a Colin? I don't know that. Okay. So.
Yeah, that's a useful word in the other dictionary.
In the other dictionary. Yeah, I wonder what it means, but we don't need to think about that here. It's a phony in this game, at least. So. Yeah, I guess if you're.
There's no hooks to awninged, if anybody was thinking of dawninged or lawninged or fawninged.
Or fawninged, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Eric Tran was thinking of those.
Yeah, shout out to one of our quarterfinalists, Eric Tran. We loved seeing him play a few days ago, and he brought it, but he just didn't get quite the right tiles. But yeah, if you're Austin here, I guess could we look at the tile bag potentially? Because this board, it's not nearly as obvious as some of these other boards we've been seeing where how the board is shaped dictates your strategy. It's open enough that there isn't one key spot you have to address, and there isn't one key area where Austin can set up exclusively for himself with flexible tiles like both blanks still out. So really a lot of the board dynamic stuff we've been talking about these broadcasts probably is a lot harder to discern for most human players here.
Absolutely. I think Float, the same spot he was going to try to play O flag, and I think that's probably the play here. I think he was considering playing Flog somewhere like making AG with the A and awninged. But this is a good spot for us to actually take a look at this board. As we can see, it's very spread out. However, if you take a look at all of these squares between Pouty, How, between Jeer, Exclaims, under Virus, a lot of those squares are just dead space that will not really be able to be used. within with the rest of the game. So we could see in maybe 4 or 5 moves, there be a really a big dearth of options for both players, because they've already utilized so much of the board, and many of the plays they've made are really controlling a lot of space that's now going to be going unused. So we'll have to see how that develops. That's a term called board exhaustion, if any of these upcoming strategists are interested in studying that. And if you do want to get better at Scrabble, now is the time to visit scrabble.zone/info. There's a lot of tips to learn about the game, and there's just so much strategy, so many words to learn. It's just a great game, honestly. That's why we're here.
Yeah, so with that, Austin does decide to play flag, and seems perfectly fine. He just needs to get rid of some of those consonants, and it scores a bit, continues to build up his lead, while Laurie is getting close to bingos here.
Yeah, and in the chat, everybody's mentioning all of the extensions of the word virus. I'm really glad I got that. I think that's me getting that chat going about extension plays. Obviously, this is all for fun. You're not really going to ever want to play nanovirus, antivirus, reovirus. There's really no use to that except flashiness. But I'm really liking these suggestions in chat.
Well, it would go off the board, but she could play with a blank C, coronavirus, even though it's invalid. So,
we had to say it.
I mean, if we're going there,
everybody was thinking it. So yeah, we see Austin played flag, which is it's a good play because it keeps a vowel. That's all I'll say about that. And now Laurie's gonna be looking for bingos. Maybe she already looked for a long time on Austin's time. Unfortunately, there's nothing. We can see the our little Quackle window is showing us that the top play only scores 20 points. So we'll see what she does here.
Oh, and thank you, Benji. So I've been bad about saying phonies. That time I said a valid word and said it was phony. Coronavirus is a word, apparently.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not a word. Is it?
It's a word, yeah.
Am I tripping? Oh, I'm tripping.
Yeah, it's a word, and it has carnivorous as an anagram. So learn something new every day. But
okay, sorry, I'm gonna need a moment here, Morris. Please take over. What?
Yeah, for sure. So as Josh just sits dumbfounded of the validity of the coronavirus, Laurie plays what I think is a really good idea of Roan. It creates another bingo lane that could be key, and she picks up the second blank at the same time, so she will be bingoing next turn. And we'll see if Austin scores enough here for him to maintain his lead after Laurie bingos, but this is actually going to be a very close game. And once Laurie hits her bingo, Josh's point before of board exhaustion could really come in.
Roan, however, sets up a G hook.
That's true. That is very true.
So that's the way to utilize some of the open space, I guess.
So she could do like halogen or something through right off of Roan. That could be an option.
She drew both blanks. Oh my god. Okay,
she drew the second blank. Yeah. So she drew the first blank before. After she played Roan, she picked the second. So something like halogen would be possible off of Roan to make groan. I'm wondering if there's any plays that are on column 14 that put the H in the triple letter score. That would be something I'd be looking for too here. I guess something like, nope, I was going to say Senhora, but no, RO is not a word. So yeah, I think halogen's probably going to be her high scoring play as Austin's considering Adbot.
Yeah, Adbot is a decent idea. The DLT is a probably the best leave he has here, unless he exchanges tiles. And it also starts dealing with the open space remaining on the board. So I like that, since Austin's now ahead by 70 points, which is a very healthy lead. He will be actually on his back foot after Laurie's play, I think. But not by that much. So we're going to have a really good game here, I think.
Yeah, and so hexagon also comes up that G spot, but the other word that we were looking at, we were trying to put an H in that triple letter score on column 14. So Anathol is the one word that plays there, and that scores 88, whereas the two bingos making groan score only 81. So Anathol would be a really nice find here. And there are no G's left in the game. So from Laurie's perspective, at least, yeah, I guess from both players' perspective. So it shouldn't be too much of a worry to keep that spot open unless she's nervous about Austin potentially bingoing down to the R. So
yeah, that's definitely not a consideration at this point. And it's really right now it's just up to brain power, just sorting through all the possibilities. And when you have two blanks, there's no way that you're going to be able to find every bingo you have. What you need to do in these situations, I mean, one blank's already hard enough. What you need to do is do what Morris was suggesting, is like, okay, how can I score the maximum amount of points here? It looks like putting that H on that triple letter score is going to score a lot of points. So from there, you might be able to find the word anathol once you already have one letter in position on the board where you want it. Interestingly, we're talking about, I mean, halogen and hexagon may be scoring the most, because normally when you're playing on a triple word score, that's the best bonus score in the game. So you're going to assume that your plays there are going to score the most points out of anything else. But as we can see, 7 points difference because that H is tripled. Those triple letters, double letters, and then double words can sometimes score more than just a triple word and a double letter. So that's really interesting. Just always count your plays. That's my tip, I guess.
Yeah, and so while Laurie is figuring out what her best bingo is, one key tile left is the Q. There are 2 U's left, so if you're... Oh, I guess Austin picked up the Q. I forgot that. So never mind. He will be able to play it for a lot. So I was going to say, if you don't have the U with the Q here, this board's pretty bad for it. But Austin actually is in the opposite position, where he will likely... Actually, he has quote, I think, next turn off of Adbot, right?
Yeah, and I think he had Quelled as well? I don't remember what his rack is.
He has multiple T's, I think, not multiple L's. So
okay. Oh, hexosan! What a nice word. That's a really cool word.
Yeah. So hexagon and hexosan, 2 X bingos with a blank potentially in this rack is really cool. I wonder what her thought is with hexosan.
Just play something, because as we can see, she's under 4 minutes. There's a lot of game to be played, and you have those 2 blanks. You really, I mean, you ideally want to find the best thing, but you really just have to make a play and see what happens for next turn, because otherwise you're just going to fall behind by too much. So quoted comes down, scores almost as much as hexosan, 72 versus 73. And once again, Laurie is needing to bingo to get back into this game.
Yeah, and if we could see the tile pool from Laurie's perspective, that would be good here. So there are 3 A's left, which could be good for her, because then she could play some bingos through the E in greasier. There are a few there. If she, well, I guess she got rid of her N, but I believe unstates is a word, and tautness. So both of those would have been available. We'll see if she has anything with that area now. But I like the idea of setting up her S here by playing ton, and she played it super quickly. She saw it right away. Austin might block there with Za if he sniffs out Laurie's play, but he has a few different Z spots if he doesn't think that's worth it.
And I think just scoring here, I mean, he's going ahead by that over 100 mark, which is really, really key. When you're ahead by over 100, there's almost nothing left to worry about. Just make sure you're not emptying the bag. Make sure you're not allowing your opponent to get something humongous, and it should be an easy win. Speaking of easy, Laurie's bingo on this rack is an easy one, I would say. But the spot for it is less is less trivial or more trivial. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, she can play the word easiest here for 75 points.
Yeah.
But it might not be enough.
Yeah, so it will empty the bag too, so I'm guessing it won't be quite enough. So we've only seen one 1-1 start for any of these matches so far. There have been 3 2-0 matches. Or I shouldn't say this for sure, but it's looking pretty hard for Laurie to come back enough here. So if that's the case, this would be the third 2-0 start. So we'll see if Laurie can kind of set the tempo in the next game. But Austin just got a lot of great plays. Yogism, I mean, that just scored so much. Quoted also. So sometimes you can get so many points without bingoing. And then if you also get Greasier and Awninged too, I mean, it's really hard to win after that from Laurie's perspective.
Yeah, and even, Yogism scored more than Greasier.
Quoted did too.
Quoted scored more than Greasier and Yogism. So yeah, I mean, this is just a situation where Laurie had nice bingo tiles, but they weren't enough to compete with Austin's scoring tiles. Bingo's 60 points, maybe 80 points, maybe. But 2 scoring plays is just as many. So if you're able to do that, it's just as good as a small little play and a bingo. So yeah, Austin's gonna take game 2 here. Wow, that's an interesting suggestion of lap. I mean, the spot that he's supposed to play in here, honestly, is that spot at M5, as you can see next to Hexosan. Ahi, the type of tuna is a word, and he can play a 3-letter word down there. I was thinking of nav, N-A-V, but for some reason, lap is a better play, I guess, because it keeps a really nice.
Well, it's so lap. Actually, they're suggesting not to put there, but to put a few spaces down, right?
Oh, I see. Yeah, because you need to block. Okay, you need to block Cobb. I see.
Yep.
That's really interesting.
So lap making pay instead of pet a few spots below. That's the spot that Quackle's talking about to block Cobb. Yeah, I mean, it's a solid idea. If Austin doesn't find it, I don't think we'd fault him. If you have a win at this kind of tournament where you just need to get 3 wins to move on, you just kind of want to speed up this game and focus on the next one.
Definitely, yeah. But as we were talking about, sometimes the end game does matter. In this format, it's very unlikely to matter. Just because it's a best of 5. So normally the person that wins is going to have 3 games, only unless there's a miraculous tie. So the end game is definitely not as important here. But it just goes to show that sometimes you see a really nice play, but you should look at what your opponent can do and make an even better play.
So he's going for the higher point lap, but that will still allow Cobb, so it nets fewer points overall. And I'm guessing Laurie will not take much time to play Cobb. And then Austin already was thinking about playing Davin last turn. I think that's his high scoring outplay. I see Naval to the L and exclaims as well, but that doesn't score as much. So I think this is basically wrapped up.
Yeah, and Laurie's going to need to win 3 in a row after this. She can do it. She's a phenomenal player. But definitely it's a hard psychological spot to be in, especially when you've drawn the blanks, both blanks. Usually the player that draws both blanks is going to win the game. But in this situation, she had them both at once. It's not nearly as good as having them separately. But that might be something that sort of hurts your psyche a little bit. But I think at this point, Laurie, with all the experience she has, does not affect her nearly as much as Austin might want it to affect her.
Yeah, and with that, Austin plays Davin. It looks like Laurie's the one who needs a prayer, though, if you know the meaning of that word. So Austin takes a 2-0 lead.